Tonight, Pure Potential member stream. Got some of you guys in the chat. I realized I didn't move my printer toner out of the way. That's really embarrassing. I'm sorry you guys had to see that. We are doing we're doing a startup mock draft. I see some questions. It's not just me. You guys are going to do the draft, but obviously it's a mock draft. So we've got 12 spots. You're probably not all going to be able to join it. Depends, I guess, what kind of turnout we have tonight. But the plan is to post the link first in the league winner chat for the VIPs if they want to jump in and grab a spot. If they leave any other spots, then I'm going to post that in the YouTube chat for whoever wants to jump in. It'll be first come, first serve to take a spot. But the premise of the startup draft, much to Austin's chagrin, who wanted us to draft teams for the rest of this season, was to actually draft as if the rest of this season doesn't matter. So that's the experiment that I wanted to run. I think that's going to make it more different from just what the current rankings are. Obviously, not that you guys would just draft straight down the rankings, but like right now, the goal of the rankings is to capture the rest of this season and future seasons. I feel like if we do a startup, it's pretty similar to just saying like, what should dynasty rankings look like right now? If we do a startup predicting off-season ADP, where are we taking these guys? I think that's going to lead to a lot more interesting decision points and just general chaos. So we're going to do that before we actually start this draft. I'll shout out some messages in the chat. If you guys have questions right now, we can do some questions now, and then we can do some more questions after the draft. Papacino was the first message I saw here, but I know that the Pokemon guy sent a message before I got the chat overlay thing loaded up. So how you guys doing? Cole is here. Austin's here. Kevin's here. Nico is here. Tyler Shuck is a 0. What is this in reference to? I don't know if I missed a message, if this has anything to do with anything at all, but oh well. So, Papacino. It is not dynasty including this season. You're drafting this team as if no points count until September 2026. That's the premise. I'll say it again before we start the draft. But the premise is that you are drafting as if you are not scoring points until week 1 of 2026. Are you serious? They listed Taysom Hill as the backup quarterback in his first game back from major injury. Hasn't it been like years since he was listed as a quarterback? I thought they dropped the whole quarterback charade ages ago. I feel like I'm being punked right now. Impossible. That's wild. Yeah, I mean, Tyler Shuck, I guess, is terrible, which is obviously what we all should have expected. I guess what I didn't expect is that they would give up on that experiment before ever putting him in a game. But yeah, I mean, it's like surprising, but not surprising, you know? Hopefully we don't see Taysom Hill at quarterback, but I'd say, honestly, that's just like listing Taysom Hill as the backup quarterback is like so bullish for Spencer Rattler, to be honest with you. Like, he is so safe for the whole season at this point. If that's how they're going to play this. So, yeah. All right. So let's, I'm not seeing any questions right now. So we're going to just get this thing started, pretty shortly here. Like I said, I am going to give the league winners a chance to join first. I got to give them some perks. Otherwise, they're going to downgrade. So I need to make sure that they're getting their money's worth out of that. I just dropped the link in the league winner chat. I won't give them that long, so they better be quick, or I'm going to drop it in the main chat, and then anybody can come check it out. I didn't set it to third round reversal just because we're not actually like keeping these teams, and we're really just doing this as a thought exercise for, like, the goal here isn't necessarily to say, you know, so and so won the draft. It's more so a thought experiment to just sort of talk through some of these player values and how these guys could progress from now until the offseason. So I just didn't set it that way, just because we don't really know like what this is going to look like. Let me update the screen here. We got a couple guys in, only a couple league winners here. I guess Yella is slacking. That's plenty of time. I'm going to drop this link in the clubhouse, or I'll drop it in the, I'll drop it in the clubhouse. You guys can check that out in the clubhouse and jump in. Fill this thing up. Now, when we say off season, it's tricky, right? Because we kind of have that NFL draft right in the middle of it. So I don't know if we want to say like this is maybe pre-NFL draft. I didn't want to do rookie picks in this one, but I'm open to my mind being changed. I kind of wanted to just do current players only. I just feel like it's more interesting to talk about current players, but if you guys want me to do kickers, I can change the settings and have kickers for rookie picks. Again, I don't really feel that strongly about it, but I do think we should be looking at this as like a February 2026 startup draft, without having to worry as much about, you know, NFL draft stuff. So I think players only makes the most sense. Hopefully we have enough people. I guess I didn't consider that we wouldn't have enough people. I kind of assumed at this point we have enough members to have 12 people here, especially when I announced it hours ago. But we've got 3 more spots. So I made that I've posted since last week. I traded one of my Malik Neighbors shares in a half PPR league for Josh Jacobs and Nico Collins. I didn't really want to trade Malik Neighbors, but I thought that was good value. I was in a weird spot in that league. Wait, it won't let you join, Kev? What do you mean it won't let you join? What does it say? Seems like a skill issue for you. I don't know. I didn't want to trade Neighbors. I'm 1-3 in this league, but there are a few other teams that are just like brutally bad. And I tried offering a couple of my main contending pieces like Dak and Barkley and Walker and Waddle to other teams, and I just I either wasn't getting responses to my offers, or I just wasn't getting people interested in those offers. And I saw someone who was trying to tank, so I just went ahead and sent the offer. I was like, maybe this will go through. I feel like it's enough value to justify it. And in half PPR, Josh Jacobs is a pretty valuable piece right now. I think I can claw myself out of a 1-3 hole because I have a pretty much guaranteed win this week. So we'll see how that goes. It's the only share of Neighbors I have either acquired or traded away thus far. Curious if you guys have gotten any deals done. I was able to get another Loveland share in a tight end premium best ball league along with Daniel Jones, where I had a pretty rough quarterback room and a pretty good set of wide receivers and running backs around him. I do have Neighbors in that league, and I'm still kind of weighing my options there. I have good enough players to get through for a while without having to move him, and I might just keep him. and just let the chips fall. But I sent my first rounder, which should be at worst 109, with Dallas Goedert and then DeAndre Swift and AD Mitchell, who are almost zeros to me, I think, for Loveland and Daniel Jones. So I liked that deal. We've got a full mock draft here. I won't talk any longer. Once again, guys, this is a mock draft. Pretend that it is February of 2026 right now. So points do not matter for the remainder of 2025. You are drafting this team with the intention of doing whatever it is that you're doing in 2026. You could still draft it like a productive struggle type of team. You don't have to draft it to be a contender. But that is what we're doing here. Scotty, what's up, man? Looks like you missed the mock draft window here, but go Phils. I don't know if I can name 3 players on the Phillies. Bryce Harper is one of them. I'm not a baseball guy. Like, I root for the Phillies, like, in the sense that I am a Philadelphia sports fan, but I really don't know the Phillies. And if you put me on the spot, I'm going to fail. I probably know 3, but I don't know if I know 3 when I'm on the spot. But that was one. Is Castellanos still on the Phillies? I only know him because of the meme. So that's 2. I don't know. Ryan Howard. All right. Let's go. Let's go ahead and draft this thing. Clanger's in the 1 spot. I have no idea how this is going to go. I did absolutely zero prep for this. And obviously the players are going to be all in a weird order here. So let's do it. Okay. We got Allen, Daniels, Jackson off the board here with our first 3. And then Puka. So pretty much chalk there. We're going running back here. Bijan Robinson. I mean, I know he's been otherworldly. So I definitely understand that. But he'll be, what will he be? 24 next year. Age 24 season. We'll see how Penix works out. We go Hurts at 7. Feels safe. We got Rich CS1 on the clock here. Excuse me. Joe Burrow. Burrow bouncing back to his 108 ADP after the season ender. Malik Neighbors at 9. Love that pick. I would have taken Neighbors for sure. We go Gibbs. We go Justin Jefferson here to close out the first round. Well, one of my picks is going to be nice and easy here, which is going to be Brockathy Bowers. But I kind of want to get a little... just want to have some fun with this one. You know, could go Lamb. You know, could go... I mean, a couple different ways, I guess. I could go Genty here. Genty, not a bad pick, I don't think, especially with Gibbs off the board. But I'm going to take my boy Drake May. We're going to push off the early wide receiver start here. We're going to go Bowers, May. Look, he's been really good this year. Like, not just for fantasy, but like real life, really good. High completion percentage, making good, you know, mostly making really good decisions, high EPA per play, even with still a lackluster cast of characters around him. I'm pretty excited about what the ceiling looks like with May. We get Genty, JSN, CeeDee Lamb. All those picks make a lot of sense to start the second round. Nothing that I find outrageous thus far. Amon-Ra, just so consistent. Patty Mahomes. You're taking a 30-year-old quarterback? Man, I don't know. Brutal. Could be over for him by then. So I'm going to start queuing up some guys that make sense for my next pick. There's a lot of really great names here, I feel like. I mean, it'll wash up, it'll dry out pretty quick, but there are a lot of really solid options. I'm gonna like who I get at my picks, I think. Oh, there's a good one. That's some of these are like buried further down the board. You really got to go look for them. We get Brian Thomas still in the second round, huh? Brian Thomas over Tedero McMillan. Love that McMillan pick for sure. Nico. 27-year-old Nico Collins still staying in the second round. Drake London to close out round 2, or 211, and then closing out round 2 with Klanger here at the 212. I think he's got some really great choices. This round 2 hardly looks different than last year's round 2, with the exception of putting JSN in it. Hampton, Rome, sick turn. Such a good turn there. Herbert at 302. Yeah, I was going to say Herbert was one of those guys you had to scroll down for. Somebody please take Tyler Warren before I get back to me at 3 before it gets back to me at 312. Thank you. I don't really want to have to take another tight end, so. All right. Herbert, Warren, Bo Nix, yucky, gross pick, Toby. What are we doing here with the Bo Nix pick? I thought we were gonna drop the act here with this guy. Jordan Love, better pick. Austin back up with the Chase McBride start. We're going with, man, there's a really good pick here, I feel like. Emeka Egbuka. Yeah, that's a good pick. Things are slowing down a little bit here. People have to go look for their players. Who are we going to pair with? Hurts and Mahomes. Really good start at quarterback. We go Garrett Wilson. Maybe he'll have a quarterback by then. Probably not, but yeah, there we go. Caleb Williams, I think, should be. I think Caleb Williams should be the clear, a clear second round startup pick at this point. I would take Caleb over several of the names we saw go in round 2. I mean, what are we supposed to be looking for here with Caleb at this point that he hasn't done yet? You know, he's running. He is putting up the fantasy points. This offense is starting to look better. Haven't even gotten Loveland and Burden fully involved yet. Like I think we're seeing the thesis play out with our guy here. All right. A lot of players on the board here that we could go with. I'm going to skip over quarterbacks on this turn. One of my picks, I'm going to go ahead and lock in right now, is Rashee Rice. And my boy Ladd McConkey is sitting here staring right at me. It's a hard click right now, man, but I do want to trust the talent. Still a young player, great quarterback. I think I could have gone running back there as well, but just not having a wide receiver before that turn, I'm going to go ahead and lock up Ladd McConkey and just hope that we see a little bounce back coming soon. The Pokemon guy, you, my friend, are a little bit delusional here. I don't know what football you're watching, but when the Broncos aren't facing the hapless Bengals defense, Bo Nix does not look better than Drake May, and he's not even doing it for fantasy, that much this year. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really get the love for Bo Nix. He was an old prospect who came out of the gates hot in year 1, but never had as much room to grow, I think, as some of these other guys. And I think May and Caleb have pretty clearly surpassed him as fantasy assets at this point, but to each his own. Yeah, Henderson is the guy I considered over Ladd potentially, but you know, we haven't seen him do it yet. And again, I didn't really want to wait as long on wide receivers. And there's a lot more, there's just always more uncertainty with running backs than with wide receivers. So, you know, feel fine about that. James Cook, all the way up into the 4th round, one of the biggest moves we've seen since we were doing this stuff in the offseason. Zay Flowers. Austin, notably hater of Zay Flowers, still takes him here. Fake hater, indeed. This is where the draft starts to get a little funky, I feel like. RJ Harvey, round 4 pick. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, I can certainly see how this season could play out to make that a reasonable pick, but you basically need him to be James Cook, right? Because he's not a young player necessarily. He's going to be 25 next year. So you basically need him to be coming out firing next season. Travis Hunter, good pick. I was going to say, I don't think he should get out of the 4th round, even after what we've seen so far. I think he's still one of the best bets on the board to have some value insulation, gain some value over the rest of this year. I know exactly who Clanger's taking with one of these picks. Excuse me. Daniel Brunnenmeister. You're telling on yourself, dude. You didn't watch the video this week. How are you going to come in here and ask me if JCM is a sell? I had him on this video. The video this week is a buy. We're buying JCM. Yeah, I knew Clanger was going to take freaking Brock Purdy there. Great pick. Yeah, I'm buying JCM. He's he is a very efficient, very effective running back so far, who I think is only going to see his role grow. And I think he's being punished in the market because we had high expectations for him initially, and he didn't meet those expectations. He's still a 7th round rookie, already worked his way into a full 3-back rotation where he is leading the backfield in expected points, and he has very, very weak competition. So I think there's totally the possibility that he takes over as the season goes along. And I wouldn't be rushing to flip him. If it's like an earlier looking second, yeah, I'm totally fine with that. But I wouldn't just sell him for like a late projected playoff second right now. Man, Barkley round 5. I get it for sure. Golden 5th round pick, misclick from Nico apparently. Olave, I like Olave there. Pickens, Worthy. Yeah, I mean these picks make some sense for sure. It's coming back to me soon. I don't really know who I want to take here, so I need y'all to slow the frick down for a second and let me focus. Should I take Tyreek Hill? Is that a good pick for next year? Give him some time to recover. I don't want to miss any of these obvious players. Oh, that's an interesting option. Oh, Dart. I wanted Dart. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You're not going to let me get Jackson Dart. All right. Shoot, man. All right, well, we're going to bank on the 101 getting some new weapons, showing some improvement. We'll go Cam Ward. Could have gone Kyler, could have gone JJ McCarthy, but if I think those guys are going higher than him next year, then probably should have them ranked ahead of him. And then I've got a couple options here, all of which are kind of fun, but I'm going to go with the funnest option, which is grabbing my anchor running back here. We're running it back. 29-year-old Christian McCaffrey. 6th round startup pick. What can I say, man? The expected points go crazy. Yeah, Dart was a really good pick there, I feel like. Pearsall was one of my other options here on this turn. Just caught up on this message from Freelster. Holy Paul Cook, how'd you get the 101 in the 2nd round? Yeah, I know. I'm crazy, right? I'm just good like that. Yellow, what's up, man? You missed the link for the draft. I guess you were probably putting kids to bed or something. Guys, there's a pick I really want to make at the next turn, so if everybody could just stay away from my guy, I'd appreciate that. Kyron Williams. Austin, no, that was my guy. QJ. Yeah, I thought about taking QJ at the last pick, honestly, over McCaffrey, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But yeah, that was a good pick, honestly. Honestly, good pick. It's crazy that we're here, but we are here. And that's the world we live in. Got to get used to it. Oh my gosh, Nico. Just tearing my queue apart. It's so annoying drafting with people that know all your ranks. Ken Walker, Tucker Craft. Clanger just cooks every time, dude. Unreal. Unreal. Dude is out of control. Yes, Daniel, the year 3 breakout is absolutely wild to me. I don't understand it at all. We just don't see players go from being downright incompetent to doing what QJ is doing, which is just straight up dominating. It's just so uncommon. So it is what it is. I just don't know how we can say it's fake anymore after 4 full games where we've seen it happen every single week. Different opponents, getting open against Pat Surtain. Like, it just, at a certain point, you just have to accept it. You got to throw your hands up and say, this is legit. This is happening for real. I don't know why. I don't know how, but it's happening. Man, it is getting so gnarly across the board here. There are just not that many guys I want already. Kyler Murray in the 7th round and Penix in the 7th round are kind of ridiculous picks, if I'm being honest. I guess quarterbacks always fall in these stupid things, but those are crazy picks, especially behind Justin Fields. Manster 415, you're going to have to walk me through this. In what universe is Justin Fields a starting quarterback next year? Like, what team are you watching right now? Because I feel like Aaron Glenn looks like the most one-and-done coach I've ever seen. And I don't know what coach is going to come in and say, yeah, we want to run it back with Justin Fields. Like, that dude is incompetent. He's had plenty of chances at this point. His contract's not that big. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's very likely Justin Fields is holding a clipboard next year. I'm going to take a different quarterback that's like probably mid, but has a big contract and I think still has potential to get better with this Liam Cohen offense. So I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence. And oh my gosh, I'm so going to take this player here. Well, you know what? I would take Harold Fannin, but I already have a tight end and I do want to stack it up. So we're going to stack it up with Elic Ayomanor. Let's bet on the breakout. Full on breakout coming late season. The Titans offense is going to come alive. They're going to fire Brian Callahan in week 14, and Cam Ward and Elic are just going to cook over that fantasy playoff stretch, and people are going to remember that. But yeah, Fannin great pick. He didn't make it into my queue. I just missed him. But yeah, that's a good one. I feel like at this point, you're kind of doing one of two things. It's like you're calling your shot on some potential breakouts, or you are betting on which veteran players are going to maintain relevant roles for next year, right? Those are the things you're trying to figure out. And so you're just weighing those options. Guys like Mike Evans become really tough clicks when you see how old they're going to be next year. You're like, yeah, he might be around, but man, it's really hard to click on that 33-year-old or whatever this high. Oh, that's kind of an interesting option, actually. I should look at him. And you look at some of these rookies, you know. Austin, you are killing the game, dude. This wait and see approach at quarterback is really, really working out for you. Gotta respect it. All right. See, a player like Woody Marks is interesting in this because, like, he's a rookie that's breaking out, right? But he's also an old rookie, 24-year-old rookie on a bad team with, you know, minimal draft capital behind him. In February, are we going to be saying sell, sell, sell on Woody Marks because he could get replaced in the draft and the Texans have such and such picks and these prospects are coming out? Or are we actually going to feel confident that Woody Marks is going to remain the starting running back? It's hard for me just because he wasn't a very serious prospect in my eyes. And clearly he's been a lot better than that. But I do struggle with him and like wondering if he has staying power. Brandon Ayuk is a great pick. That was the guy that was top of my queue. And of course, Clanger took him because Clanger just knows way too much ball for his own good. But yeah, Trey Benson, interesting pick. He's going to get a chance, hopefully, when he comes back to audition for that long-term starting job. And, you know, just got to hope that he can get it. He can hold on to it. Terrence Ferguson and Torrey Horton are interesting choices there. I don't know if he accidentally turned on rookies only. I mean, certainly, I guess either of those guys could break out to such a degree late in the season that they are drafted here, but it is weird with some of the names that are still on the board. Yeah, Clanger's team is sick. He is good at the game. But yeah, third round reversal maybe would have helped fix this a little bit. I mean, he would just have Rashee Rice instead of Rome Odunze, right? Those are the only things he would flip. And then he would have had an earlier fourth round pick. So I don't know how much worse his team would really look if we flipped it, but yeah, he's doing the thing. Derrick Henry in the 9th round got a bit of an older team going with Sutton, Barkley, Henry. Going for the old guys. I mean, sometimes those old guys hang around a little longer than you think, but I am getting worried about Derrick Henry, especially with how bad that defense is. Chuba Hubbard. Getting to some picks that I find utterly disgusting at this point. Just so hard to know how these things are going to shake out with these older, non-elite veteran players. Yeah, guys like McLaurin too. This is where the exercise gets tough. Pittman is one of the guys I wanted. He turns 28 tomorrow, so he'll still be, you know, solidly in his prime. Hopefully, decent quarterback play maintains for that amount of time. I think that's a really good pick, to be honest. I really don't agree with this. I don't think you need a running back. I don't think that's how you draft a startup, especially this type of startup. I don't think you need anything. I think you just draft the best players, to be honest. Yeah, Pittman was a great pick. Adams, DJ Moore. I think it's late enough at this point that like you just have to take. I think you just have to take Sam Darnold here at this point. 9-12. The guy's playing really well. It's a run-heavy offense, but he's playing well. He's going to keep his job if he plays like this all year. And then the other one is tougher. Got some older wide receivers I could go for some veteran locked-in production. But screw it, man. Say whatever you want to say. Mike Evans. Yeah, man. It's just hard with some of these older guys. I mean, they're going to have spots, and I do like to take my shots on some of these older guys when I have a young core. That's why I took McCaffrey, so I can get those picks for sure. Right now, Adams doesn't look like he's lost anything. So it's like, yeah, he's going to be really old. He's going to be 33 next year, but he hasn't fallen off yet. And if he doesn't fall off this season, this is probably around where he's going to get drafted. And it's going to make a lot of sense. Even though it's scary, it'll make sense. Running back is getting particularly thin because a lot of the running backs that we're going to want are rookies. We don't have any rookies. Oh, Jaden Reed. Nice pick. I like the Jaden Reed pick a lot. I might have taken him over Pitts. I just kind of dropped the ball. Okay. So as I'm looking at this, I do think Hawkinson is a guy that maybe needs to fall in the rankings. Because like, what are we even hoping for with him at this point? If he's going to go this late, he's older than a lot of guys around him. What is the point? Is he washed? I don't know. I don't know. I don't watch enough Vikings games to know if Hawkinson's just not good or if the offense is just not going to him right now. I don't know. It is strange though. Nico, you are. I hate to say you are having the WOT draft right now. I liked your start through 4 picks, and I think maybe when you took Golden, you just decided to start memeing. But man, these are some brutal picks, bro. Jacoby, Jennings, we're getting some of these reliable vets. Godwin, guys that are, decent bets to still be your low-end wide receiver 2 types next year. So there's some utility in that. Still some old guys available you could take the plunge on. Also some veterans I think are just absolute bait for anybody that wants to fall for it. I won't be falling for it. Dylan Gabriel. Oh my gosh. What in the world? Dylan Gabriel. We think he's really a thing. We think he's actually a guy. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's a guy. I just really struggle to see how he's going to succeed in the league. But I mean, if he does, then good value there. Man, this is so brutal. Just looking for somebody worth picking, man. So many variables right now, which I guess is what makes it an interesting exercise, but makes it tough. And I think the question is like, do you want to win? Do you want to win or just not lose with some of these picks, right? Like you can take some safe picks, like David Montgomery, still going to be there. Jerry Jeudy, you know, one of those vets that's like kind of boring, but he's still going to be around. He's still going to be doing something. I do want to take some bigger swings here. I think it's late enough in the draft. I'm cool to just bet on the Debo Renaissance here this late. And then, man, I don't know. Let's get crazy. Takeover coming in the KC backfield. The next Isaiah Pacheco is here, and his name is Brashard Smith. Nico, you don't think that Dart Wandale connection will be there at all? Why are you so high on Dart? I mean, I'm high on Dart because he is a rookie first round pick quarterback who played well in his first game and runs a lot. I mean, do I think Wandale will like do anything? Yeah, for sure. But like, he's like a wide receiver 3. Like, I don't know. He's just kind of like a wide receiver 3 type that like, if the team goes and drafts somebody else next year to go with Neighbors is just kind of a whatever. Like, I just don't know if he's like the type of talent that demands volume or if he's just like a guy that's there just absorbing targets, right? I feel like 2025 is set up. The rest of this season is set up to be like the peak of his career production. And I just don't know if it ever gets better from here. I don't think it's like an outlandish pick, I guess, but I don't know. There's just a lot of guys on the board I would rather swing for a combination of either value upside or production upside. He feels like a middle ground where he's never going to be that valuable. And I don't think he really has high like production upside either. Connor, would you rebuild if you don't have your first? I mean, I think yes, if you are in a spot where you're clearly not going to win. If you're heavily reliant on Rachaad White, for example, I don't think that you're going to win this year. And so, yeah, you rebuild to the extent that you can. You go and sell assets that are depreciating to get more picks, to get more rookies, give yourself more value in the future. So you could certainly ride it out a little bit longer if you want to, because you don't have your first, so there's no rush. Maybe, you know, miracles happen. But no, I mean, I'm not just going to hold them all season because I don't have my first. I would rather just get out ahead. You're still going to have more buying power next year if you sell those guys off. Nico, what does this mean? What do you mean it's February? Yeah, I mean, that's the game we're playing, right? So you don't get credit for any of Wandale's production the rest of this year. You're picking Wandale because you think he's going to have a sizable role next season. And I'm saying I just don't really have a lot of confidence in that. I think he just goes back to being like a, 16th round best ball pick. But maybe it works out. I really thought I was going to get a sneaky Isaiah Bond pick at my next spot. Should have known better. Should have known better than to think that was possible. It is getting tough out here, boys. Who do I want? Who is worth the trouble? That's kind of a fun one. Jonathan Brooks. Okay, deep cut. Deep cut on John Brooks. It's interesting for sure. Okay, I'm about to be up. Ooh, I like the Gadsden pick for sure. Yes, I like that a lot. Okay, let's live in a world. Let's live in a world where Alvin Kamara has been traded elsewhere. Kendre Miller. Lead back, anybody? And let's pair him with... I don't freaking know, dude. I don't know. With a late breakout from a wide receiver taking over for Keenan Allen next year, Trey Harris. I don't know. I'm having a hard time getting excited about these guys, but some of these guys that are late right now are going to pop and go a lot higher. Connor, I think it would be worth sending McConkey for your first back if you are confident you can get it to 101 or 102. If you think you can get it that high, I think you're just going to be better off having the pick, the flexibility of it. So, yeah. These teams are almost done, though. One more round to go. If you can dig deep, guys, find one more interesting player to draft. Ugh. Xavier Leggett? Is he even going to be on an NFL team next year? Jake, I don't know about that one, Chief. Do you guys know what Xavier Leggett's yards per out run is right now? It's 0.1. 0.1 yards per out run for this guy. Tough scene. Shedeur Sanders. Oof. Nasty. I don't think after that interview that we saw that guy's ever going to be a starter. Klanger's going to totally take the veteran that I'm hoping to get on the next one. So obviously he's going to do it too. I knew he was going to do it. I told you he was going to do it. I knew he was going to freaking take Tony Pollard. So obvious that he was going to do it. If I die, just let Klanger take over the channel, man. I don't care. He can do everything I can do. He can just make all the same content. Frick, man. Okay, I got one pick left. No, Austin. I really love the Shedeur Sanders pick over Tony Pollard. That was really good. Oh, man, I wanted to do the Richardson thing. I wanted to do the Anthony Richardson pick. Hate you guys. Freaking hate you guys. Theo Johnson. Darnell Mooney. Tyler Shugg. Rashad Bateman. Shoddy B. All right, last pick. Fresh start on a new team for Chief David Njoku. Goes to be the starter on some fun pass-happy team, like he goes to the Buccaneers or something next year. That's my David Njoku Cope posting. Okay, we did it, guys. 2026 Dynasty Startup Draft. I think this can help in a couple ways. Looking at where some of these veterans are going can help you understand the incentive you have to trade them if you are currently rostering one of these guys and you're set to rebuild, or just the reason why you don't want to be holding a bunch of these veterans through the season as like depth, right? Because you look at like a Tony Pollard, right? Calvin Ridley. These guys are thought to have value. Like they're just automatic second round pick type of guys, they fall in these startups. They fall once the season's over and the points are gone. They're not valuable anymore. And that's why I say I don't want to be carrying a bunch of this veteran depth on my bench. I want to be turning guys into picks. In fact, if you are going to if you're in a league without a trade deadline and you're making the playoffs, even when you're in the playoffs, like, go and shop your players that are on your bench and see if you can flip them for seconds, for thirds, whatever. Even if you're in the middle of the race, because no one player is going to change your odds that much, but having those extra picks can help you out so much with keeping your value high and not letting your roster just deteriorate to the point that you have a bunch of 12th through 15th round startup picks on your team. Here are some thoughts. My last 3 picks got sniped. Yeah, it happens. We exist in an echo chamber. How did the guy that leads the Jags in targets drop to the 13th round? Yeah, that is a strange occurrence, isn't it? Would you rather buy Egbuka or London, and what would you pay, or at least what's fair value? Are you selling BTJ or Nico for either one? So Anthony, I don't know what tier of member you are, but if you're in the second tier, you can actually just look right at the dynasty rankings for this type of a question. You can see who I have higher. Happy to check for you in this case. I have London ranked 2 spots ahead of Egbuka. And then I have both of them ranked ahead of Brian Thomas, but I have all of them behind Nico Collins. I personally prefer Nico. Now, I do think that there's a chance I might be reevaluating the Nico Collins ranking just because the Texans offense is so inept right now. And he is, the oldest of that group. So if it's not going to happen for him this year as that high-end fantasy wide receiver, it may be time to consider a little bit of a drop just to account for that. So I think Nico, Drake London, Egbuka are all pretty close. And then I have Brian Thomas just behind those guys just because there's a little bit more uncertainty with him, that's less situational and more about mental health or undisclosed injury or just general underperformance. As far as what I would pay, I have those guys all solidly in like the 2 firsts range. But I always prefer to move players over picks if I can. Jake says if you're in a rebuild and the league is very stingy, do you sell players a little below market to get points off your roster? Yeah, I mean, I definitely do that, especially with lower end guys that are like, a late second type of guy. I'll sell for a third and like a third and a 4th round pick or something. If it helps me get to the 101, I'll maybe prioritize like completely emptying out a position group like quarterbacks or running backs, tight ends. Just trying to empty a position group is going to get those max points for down. You don't want to sell. I mean, obviously you don't want to have to sell off your whole team below market value, but you also don't want to cost yourself the 101 if you have a realistic shot at it. And you do want to be thinking about what the market value is going to be later. Like Tony Pollard, 14th round pick. It might suck right now to sell him for less than a second, but if you can get 2/3, there's a good chance that's going to be worth more than he's worth come startup time in the offseason. And then you're not going to care what his market value was in October or November. So I do think it helps to project forward. I do think it's worth taking a value loss if it positions your picks better, if it just generally removes downside risk, depreciation risk from your team. How disinterested are you in tight end, in non-tight end premium? I find most people subscribe to tight end premium content. In half PPR non-tight end premium, I'm like, I couldn't be less interested in tight ends. I literally don't care about them at all. I just roster the cheapest, like Hunter Henry type of tight end I can, and I just shift as much value as possible into other positions. I wouldn't even like think about sending an offer for a McBride or a Bowers or whatever if I wasn't absolutely loaded with roster value. In a full PPR, non-tight end premium, I think you can look at like the top tight ends in kind of that third, second. Like Bowers to me is like a second rounder. in the same vein as like a Drake London type in non-tight end premium. I think he can put up similar production to that type of wide receiver, even without the premium. McBride, early third, maybe. And then a Tyler Warren type, maybe late third, early fourth. But after that, the big thing with non-tight end premium is you don't want to be stacking up tight ends because you almost never, ever, ever want to flex those guys in non-tight end premium because you're not, outside of the elite guys, none of them are keeping pace with similarly valued wide receivers and running backs. So you don't want to flex them, which means you don't want to be sinking a bunch of value into the position. Whereas in tight end premium, you can kind of do whatever you want at tight end. If you have two elites, you're happy to flex one of them. So that's the biggest difference. And I'm just kind of punting, if I don't have an elite guy, I don't want to be paying up for necessarily the flavor of the week at tight end. I don't want to be paying up for the expensive guy that everybody likes, right? Whether it's Sam Laporta, whether it's Tucker Kraft, I'm probably just going to wait and take a cheaper option if I'm not getting an elite guy. Freelster, this is kind of crazy. You can't get a third for Tony Pollard. I feel like I am not quite ready to trade Tony Pollard for a third because he's still good. Like, I don't think his problems are his fault. He's not that old. Like, he's 28 right now. He'll be 29 next year. Like, I really struggle to see him being out of the league next year. And if he's still in the same situation, I think the Titans offense has to be better than it is right now. Like, I just don't know how it could stay this bad, right? Cam Ward has to get better. They're going to add stuff in free agency. They're going to add stuff in the draft. I don't know. It's tough. Can't catch clacks. Feel like Fannin and Loveland are closer in value, are they not? I think they are right now. I think there's a chance that Loveland really does fully break out in the way that we hoped he would down this. I think that Manster is kind of betting on that with that late fourth round draft pick. Like, it's probably a little bit higher than he should go right now based on what he's done. But if you're projecting forward and hoping for that breakout, I can see it. And then Fannin, I think, slipped a little further than he should just because I don't think people realized he was on the board. I think people just kind of forgot about him. Certainly, I would want him ahead of Metcalf. I would want him ahead of Fields. I probably want him over Kittle at this point. Downs. There's several guys that went ahead of him. I would take him over. So probably a 3-round difference at most. And it ended up being a little bit more for a couple reasons. My favorite team here is Clangers. I feel like he just took exactly the two players that I would have taken every time he was on the clock. That's a little bit of a pure potential mind meld going on there. But yeah, Allen 101, he got that wrong by one spot. It's no big deal. Should have been Daniels, but Hampton, Adunze, just very solid picks based on what we've seen. Purdy at 412 is a nice value. I think that he should be ahead of Baker. I think he's in the same conversation as Bo Nix, who went significantly earlier. Catches a falling AJ Brown at 501. That's probably a good pick. I mean, at this point, maybe he's on a different team next year. I don't know. Ken Walker, late 6th round. He's still pretty young. He'll be 25 next year, I believe. And he'll either be starting on the Seahawks or starting somewhere else. And honestly, the prospect of him being somewhere else is pretty exciting. Tucker Kraft, good pick. Brandon Ayuk, he gets to bypass all of the ACL stuff. And then just some reasonable picks, guys that are probably going to still be around in some capacity, and Benson, Shakir, Myers, Shaheed, Goddard gets the value on Pollard, who everybody overlooked, and then premium handcuff in DJ Giddens. Looks like Tyler Algier went undrafted in this. That's interesting. I feel like Tyler Algier is infinitely better pick than a lot of guys that went here late, because you just know exactly what he is. Austin asked for a review. I mean, I love this draft. At least through the first 8 rounds, I love this draft. Chase, McBride, Egbuka, Flowers, Scatabo, QJ gets 2 really good quarterback values, Kyler and Daniel Jones. I know this is February, and you guys are thinking Daniel Jones in February. At this point, if the Colts are going to win all these games, they're an obvious playoff team. They're so clearly the best team in this AFC South right now. If they're going to win that division and go to the playoffs, Steichen's probably keeping his job and Daniel Jones is probably getting a contract. Like, that's just how this league works. I'd say let's put it this way. I think Daniel Jones is significantly more likely to be a week 1 starter next year than Justin Fields, who went higher. So good pick there. I didn't love Chuba Hubbard personally, just because I think he's got a lot of, I think he's kind of surrounded. He's got Jonathan Brooks potentially coming back. He's got Trevor Etienne on the team. He's been dealing with these injuries. The team might not want to pay out his whole contract. It's a bad team. Like, there's a lot of question marks there with Chuba, but I get it. Reed, good pick. Like I said, thought that was a good value. I don't know about Juwan Johnson, if he's like a 1-year wonder or what. We'll see this week if the return of Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau changes his usage at all. He is an older guy. I know he's just breaking out, but he is 29, so pretty old tight end. But yeah, I mean, if he runs back this type of role next year, that's going to look like a good value. Tajay Spears, a solid pick as well. We don't have to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Jake wants me to roast his team. There is absolutely nothing to roast here in the first 3 rounds. Neighbors, Lamb, Judkins, totally rational, solid picks there. I hope that I still prefer Bucky Irving to him next year, who did go after him in this one, but can't argue with it too hard. Marv is just not my cup of tea, but I get it. He's going to be, 24 years old next year. Maybe there's something to build on in this last game. Maybe he hits the year 3 breakout like QJ. Luther Burden is such a fun, speculative pick. I think taking him over Jackson Dart is kind of insane, and over CJ Stroud as well. But you ended up getting good values on quarterbacks in McCarthy and Prescott. I think the bet on Charbonnet makes some sense. Like, if it's a theoretical world where Walker goes somewhere else in free agency, then this could be a good pick for Charbonnet. He's going to be 24, 25, could be the clear starter. I mean, I don't think he's very good, which is the problem with him being the clear starter. I feel like they would definitely bring someone in, but if they don't, then maybe. Hard to take a ton of issue with the ETN pick with how he's been playing lately. My read on this, here's how, I mean, this could play out so many different ways. This is how I think it could play out for the Jaguars backfield, which is that ETN could maintain this type of workload all year, and then they could just let him walk at the end of the year, and they could just say, yep, thank you for your service. You did exactly what we wanted. We have a guy named Byshal Tootin who can do the same thing on a 4th round rookie contract, and we're going to let you go sign, your $10 million annually somewhere else. So I think that's possible. I think Liam Cohn probably knows that he is a really, really good, he has a really good system, and he doesn't need Travis Etienne there. But if he re-signs long-term, that's going to be awesome. Dalton Kincaid is a fraud. I don't care. I can't do it with Kincaid. Geno, still going to be around, still going to be starting. And then I kind of feel like just burn some picks on Mims and Leggett. I don't think those guys have any upside personally. I think they've both shown us that they're just not really, they're just gadget players. Mims at least is a good gadget player. Leggett is a gadget player who sucks. I don't think those guys are anything really. Like, I would just take any handcuff running back over them. Tillman, kind of interesting. He can't stay healthy apparently, but he's been decent. And then Mooney is like, whatever, he's actually not that old. I think he'll be 28 next year. Yeah, he'll be 28 next year. So it's like, he'll be fine. He'll come back. He'll be one of those guys you can flex in a pinch. Totally fine 15th round pick. So yeah, solid draft, guys. I like what we did with this one. I'll post the draft board if you want to keep talking about it in the chat. I got to wrap this thing up. I have some breakdowns I have to finish before bed. So appreciate you guys participating. Anybody that hung out and watched, shout out to you as well. I have not decided yet what the topic for next week's video is going to be. So I have to think about it. But I'm interested. Some week 5 storylines to watch for. What are the games tomorrow? I'm like blanking now on what the games are tomorrow. Oh, we've got the early game tomorrow, Dylan Gabriel versus Carson Wentz. That sounds like must-see TV. I'm interested to see if Genty can follow up on that big game to start with. I'm pretty interested to see Jaden Daniels back in action against the Chargers. That seems like a great game. I'm interested to see the Jaguars in primetime. I haven't gotten to watch like a full Jaguars game all the way through. So it'll be interesting to see that team in action. The Lions scoring 50 points on the Bengals is going to be fun. And then Patriots-Bills, a real test for Drake May. A really good spot for Travion Henderson as far as a run funnel defense. Let's see if they can at least keep it competitive. So, all right. Appreciate you guys. Nico, I think I roasted you enough during the draft. Just some weird picks, I think, across the board with Horton and Ferguson. Just very, very early for what we've seen, but certainly could work out. And lastly, Pappuccino, do you think Nico will fall significantly? I don't think significantly. I just think he is 26. He'll be 27 next year. If this offense continues to flounder all year, I think people are going to start to doubt CJ Stroud. They're going to doubt the coaching. He'll be another year older. I do think there's a world where we see his value take a little bit of a hit, especially because he doesn't have as strong of a brand as like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, a CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson. Even though I think he's pretty much right there with those guys in terms of talent, he just doesn't have the same type of like aura around him as a talent, as a guy that you obviously need to build around in fantasy. So yeah, I think he'll settle as like an early 3rd round startup ADP guy, unless we see the Texans figure some things out down the stretch. All right, guys, have a good night. Hope your teams win in week 5, and I'll talk to you soon.